Hey, what's going on everyone? It's V here and I'm back with my 2018 Manga Collection update. So I'm not going to waste too much time, we'll just jump right into it. So first shelf I'm going to cover is my really awesome One Piece shelf. I have all 84 volumes here plus the 3 bonus comics that came with the first 3 box sets. Plus some Funko Pop figures that I have no idea where else to put them. But One Piece is awesome. It really needs no introduction, and I highly recommend if you have not checked it out that you do so. I know it's long, but it's definitely worth the ride. I'm just going to go over here really quick, and I apologize if I go through these kind of quickly, just for the sake of time and the fact that my phone doesn't have much memory in it. We're just going to cover these here. We have Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Super Mario Adventure comics. These were part of a series of comics that was published in Nintendo Power in the early 90s. So 90s kids, highly recommend you pick these up, especially if you're a Nintendo fan, or a Zelda and Mario fan too. And next up is Neon Genesis Evangelion. We have all 14 volumes here in these really awesome omnibus editions. I love Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I highly recommend if you are a sci-fi or post-apocalyptic fan, I highly recommend you check this out. This is actually, and next up here we have a series that left me a little underwhelmed in the end, but it's Fruits Basket, and we have the entire collection in these 12 omnibus editions. And even though it left me underwhelmed, I still think Fruits Basket is a really good series. So I don't let my opinions deter you from getting it if you have not checked it out already. The next down here really quick, we have Erased. We have the first 2 omnibus editions, which I believe the 3rd one is out now, but I'm going to hold off on getting that until the last omnibus releases, so that way I can just read everything together. But Erased up to this point, from what I've read, is really good. The next we have Cardcaptor Sakura, all 12 volumes in these 4 beautiful 3-in-1 omnibus editions. Love me some Cardcaptor Sakura, and I'm super excited that the sequel to the series has now been released, so I'm definitely looking forward to picking that up as well. And the next shelf here we have Dragon Ball. I have the 4th and 5th omnibus editions in the Viz Big format, and then Dragon Ball Z I have complete with the 9 omnibus editions. I actually think Dragon Ball Z was actually my introduction into anime, so I highly recommend that for beginners if you're just now getting into manga. A very good series, good place to start. And then down here really quick, we have Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, the first 5 volumes in the Stardust Crusaders arc. I love Jojo. I definitely at least want to get parts 1 and 2. I don't know if I'm going to continue on after part 3 is over, although I hear part 4 is absolutely phenomenal, so we'll see. And then next here we have some anime DVDs and Blu-rays. We have the first 4 OVAs from Attack on Titan that came with volume 17 through 20 in special edition releases. And then we have an alternate ending to Neon Genesis Evangelion. And then the complete series of Azumanga Daioh, One Piece Strong World movie, and part 1 of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The full series of Kaleidostar, which is actually my favorite anime of all time, and the Akira movie on Blu-ray. Definitely love those. Alright, so up here, I have all my box sets up here, so we're going to start with Full Metal Alchemist, a complete box set, which contains all 27 volumes, plus a light novel. Highly recommend Full Metal Alchemist, it is an amazing series. And then up here, we have the complete box set for Blackbird, which I actually got this on sale for less than $50, so that was absolutely amazing. And, whoops. And then I'm just going to move these back over. These are my only Osamu Tezuka works. We have The Mysterious Underground Men, which actually I think was his 3rd work that he ever published. But it is very good. If you're a manga fan, that's one that I definitely say you need to have in your collection regardless. And then these 2 here, one disclaimer I do want to say is if I have to give a 10 out of 10 to any manga here, it would be this. I don't want to go into too much detail, but if you're into learning about World War II, and things about the Holocaust and things of that nature, I definitely recommend checking out Message to Adolf. It's a series that will keep you on the edge of your seat, trust me. And then up here, really quick, I do have a set of Attack on Titan playing cards that came with volume 16 of the manga. And then we have here Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind box set by Hayao Miyazaki, based on the movie. So I recommend, if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, this is one that I recommend that you have in your collection for sure. And then over here, we have my Inio Asano works. We have A Girl on the Shore, which I actually really need to do a video on that because I have a lot to say. And then we have Solanin and What a Wonderful World, both volumes, and Majikahara Holograph. I haven't yet checked out Goodnight Pun Pun, so I'm hoping to do that this year. We'll see what happens though. And then one of my prize pickups this year was the Akira 35th Anniversary box set. I actually have yet to read the manga or watch the movie, but I am definitely looking forward to it when I get a chance. And then starting on these big shelves here, this first little bit here is just my one-shots or all-in-one omnibus editions. So I'm just going to cover these really quick. We have Awesome Manga Daio, containing all 4 volumes in this series. And one thing I did want to mention about this, if you've seen the anime and have not yet read the manga, I personally don't see a need to do that, because I really believe that the anime is so much better. And next we have Hatsune Mix. Nothing special, just a story about Hatsune Miku, some random stories. And we have All You Need Is Kill, with the artwork done by the great Takeshi Obata. And this is based off of the Hollywood movie Edge of Tomorrow, so I highly recommend that you see that. The movie is amazing. And we have Wolf Children, Ami and Yuki. Very heartwarming. This is actually one of my first manga that I got as an adult. I definitely need to reread it though because it's been so long. And we have Junji Ito's Cat Diary. And if you're a cat person, even if you're not into manga or anime, I highly recommend you pick this up because it gets cat owners and cats just perfectly. And then we have 5 centimeters per second, based off of the movie of the same name, which again, I haven't yet to see the movie. But the manga is really good, although the ending did leave me a little bit underwhelmed. Then we have Manga Messiah, which the title speaks for itself. It's a story of Jesus Christ done in manga form. And then we have The Gods Lie. Very, very good one-shot. Probably one of my favorite one-shots that I have. Don't really want to go into too much detail, being that it's only 1 volume. It'd be hard to avoid spoilers. And then we have Hatsune Miku Mikoban, another collection of stories featuring Hatsune Miku. And I apologize for the shaking of my camera. I'm just using an iPhone and a selfie stick. So next we have Jacko the Galactic Patrolman. It's actually a Dragon Ball canon type manga. So I highly recommend that you check it out if you're a Dragon Ball fan, because it kind of gives you a pretty decent backstory about Goku's parents, where he came from, and things of that nature. And then next we have My Neighbor Totoro, the light novel, which I have yet to read, but hopefully I'll get around to that this year. And then we also have Pokemon Adventures. We have volumes 1 through 7, which is the Red and Blue arc. And then volumes 8 through 14, which is the Gold and Silver arc. Now, again, a little disclaimer. If you're just now getting into Pokemon, or you want to get this for a child in your life, this is actually based off of the video games, not the anime, so just make sure you keep that in mind. And then next here we have my Disney themed manga. I'll go through these fairly quickly. We have Kingdom Hearts Final Mix volumes 1 and 2. And we have Chain of Memories. We have Kingdom Hearts Part 2, volumes 1 through 4. And then Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, volumes 1 through 5, which is actually my favorite part. So if you're a fan of the Kingdom Hearts video games, especially, I highly recommend picking these up. I've only played a couple games in the series, which I thoroughly enjoyed them, so I would definitely like to play a lot more, though. And we have Big Hero 6, complete with volumes 1 and 2, based off of the movie of the same name. Pretty much it's a shot-for-shot of the movie, so I, of course, will recommend, as far as Disney goes, if it's based off of one of the movies, I would recommend seeing the movie first, just because I love Disney that much. And this next one here is Evergreen, volumes 1 through 4 complete. Fairly decent series. I can't remember really a whole lot about it because it's been so long since I've actually read it. But even if it's a series that you're not going to really be into once you get to the end, it's only 4 volumes, so You really won't be wasting a lot of time, but I do recommend you check it out. At least give it a chance. And this next bit here is my absolute favorite manga of all time. It's A Silent Voice, volumes 1 through 7. And then a quick note too, Kodansha, I think, just released the entire series in box set form. So if this is a series that you have yet to check out, I highly recommend that you pick up the box set. But then just really quick, the plot centers around this little girl here who is a victim of hearing loss. And I think she has some other disability issues and things of that nature, but she has to endure a lot of bullying, and it gets so bad that she actually has to transfer schools. And her biggest issue is this boy here. But when she transfers, his life, like his quality of life, his social life, just kind of goes downhill. And then it gets to where there's a lot of things that happen in between, but it gets to where he eventually apologizes to her. They meet up again, and it's a really heartwarming story. And it really relates to a lot of things I went through as a kid, because I've struggled all my life with learning disabilities and various things that made making friends at school and just generally learning pretty difficult. So I can definitely relate to Shoko and her struggles there. Then here really quick, we have the Death Note all-in-one edition, and there goes my Sailor Moon volumes. So, yep, and this contains all 12 volumes, which actually the quality is a lot better than what you might think. And then we also have volume 13, the How to Read Data book. Death Note is an awesome series. I honestly was not sure what to expect going into it. So, when I saw the all-in-one edition, I'm like, you know what, it's going for cheap. This will be my chance to get into it. And if I don't like the quality, I can always buy like the box set or something later. But if you haven't gotten into Death Note yet and you really want to, for cost-saving measures, I would highly recommend that you pick this up. And then next over here, we have all of Nichijou, volumes 1 through 10, and then the spin-off Helvetica Standard Bold. There's actually also a second volume in this called Helvetica Standard Italic, which I believe just came out a few weeks ago, so I have to pick that up. Now, Nichijou, actually, a lot of people like to compare it to Azumanga Daioh, which they definitely have their differences. But I do think Nichijou is a lot better than Azumanga Daioh, but that's just my opinion. The next here we have Tokyo Mew Mew. And we have volumes 1 through 3, and the first two are 2-in-1 omnibuses, and the third one is a 3-in-1. And then we have the spin-off Tokyo Mew Mew Ala Mode. And if I can best describe this without going into spoilers again, I would say this is like Cardcaptor Sakura meets Sailor Moon meets Pokemon. So if you put those three together, mishmash them together, that gives you an idea of what to look forward to. Then we have Orange, the Complete Collection Omnibus 1 and 2. Orange was a really, really good series. I will say for certain. Again, like a couple other manga that I mentioned here, the ending did leave me a little underwhelmed, but I still recommend checking it out. Then we have all of Sailor Moon. This is the Kodansha publication. We have volumes 1 through 12. And then Sailor V, which is actually the prequel, but from my understanding, it's meant to be read after you read the initial Sailor Moon, which I made the mistake of reading this first. And I can kind of understand why, because Sailor V contains a lot of spoilers. So just a heads up if you're a new Sailor Moon fan. And then here in the corner we have Sailor Moon short stories, both volumes. And it basically, what the title says, just a bunch of short stories featuring Sailor Moon characters. And then next down here we have what will hopefully be my Ranma 1/2 shelf. Right now I just have the first 13 omnibus editions that contain volumes 1 through 26. So I'm hoping this year I'm going to try to make it a priority to complete it, because I haven't read past the first omnibus. I'm just kind of waiting and holding off until I can get all the volumes. But I can't wait because I love the Ranma 1/2 anime. Absolutely hysterical. So I can't wait to get into the manga. And then we have another two here that I have yet to read. We have In This Corner of the World, which from my understanding is just based upon a young girl and her struggles before, during, and after World War II. And the one that especially piqued my interest is this here. It's called EPF, and it's actually based on a worker's memoir of the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster. And I remember when that happened, I had my eyes glued to the news to kind of see what was going on, because I have a couple friends out there, and, you know, just kind of curious as to how they're doing, which they're fine. But yeah, I definitely can't wait until I sink my teeth into that one. The next here I'm just going to cover really quick because I have yet to really read this. I have the first 30 volumes of Bleach and the first omnibus of Astro Boy. This is actually a gift from my best friend. She was getting rid of some of her manga, and she told me she had a bunch of the Bleach volumes, which I tried getting into Bleach a couple years ago and I couldn't really do it, but I decided to give it another go, which I'm kind of holding off on it right now because there's other things that I want to read, but I will forever be grateful that she gave these to me. I know most of them are kind of rough shape, but that doesn't matter to me. I just kind of wanted to get into Bleach to read it. Not really concerned about, you know, volume quality. I am to a certain point, but I just really want to get into it. But anyway. Alright, so up here, again, I'm just going to kind of cover this shelf pretty quickly. We have Yotsuba Ann, volumes 1 through 13. Absolutely adorable slice of life manga. It's just about this little girl Yotsuba, and it details her adventures day to day, you know, things that she gets into, new things she discovers. So I recommend if you have a child that wants to get into manga, or, you know, just a child in your life that wants to check out manga, this is a really, really good first step in that direction. The next we have Cells at Work. This was actually a spur of the moment pickup about a year or so ago when I went to Barnes & Noble. And it piqued my interest because I work in healthcare, and I think I mentioned that in a few other videos. But it just kind of gives you a little inside detailing of how different cells in your body work, and how it fights off different diseases, injuries, and things of that nature. Actually, cancer was covered here recently, which I thought they did a really, really good job with that. So especially if you work in healthcare and you're into manga, this is one that I absolutely recommend that you have in your collection. Okay, next we have Golden Kamuy, volumes 1 through 3. I absolutely love Golden Kamuy. I wasn't sure what I was getting into going into it because I pretty much went into it blindly, but basically, again, to avoid spoilers, it has to do with details of the Russo-Japanese War, which took place at the beginning of the 20th century. So, again, that's one. I'll just let you put the pieces together there. Now, these next two, I'm just going to do a brief overview. We have Descending Stories, volumes 1 through 4. The best way that I can describe this is it has to do with a style of Japanese drama, like a type of Japanese play. It's pretty hysterical, though. And then we have Sweetness and Lightning. It's a really, really adorable slice of life manga. So, again, I think Yotsuba and then another one that I'm going to have towards the end of the video is a lot better. But I still recommend you check that out. And then here we have Assassin's Creed Awakening, volumes 1 and 2, which is up to date. And volume 2 came to be badly damaged. I just never went out and got the other new replacement yet. But this is actually based off of the Black Flag video game. So if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, this is one I highly recommend you have in your collection. And for me, it was really a no-brainer because Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite video game franchises ever. So anyway, and again, these next few I'm just going to cover pretty quick. We have Your Name, volumes 1 and 2, again, based off of the movie that I have yet to see. But the manga adaptation is really, really good. So I recommend that you check that out. And then we have Dragon Ball Super, volume 1. Not really much to say there. And then Arpeggio Blue Steel, volume 1. And then the manga adaptation of Ponyo in Japanese that I actually picked up at Disney World earlier. Well, I guess it would be last year, but in September of 2017. Again, as I stated before, I love me some Ghibli, so any Studio Ghibli merchandise, definitely piques my interest. And then we have volumes 1 through 3 of Nanan Biori, which I'm extremely behind on this, but it's just been a series I've had on the back burner for a while. But it's a really funny, really cute story about these three schoolgirls here, and I can't wait to get back into it. I'll just say it that way. And then we have Attack on Titan, volumes 1 through 22. And then the spin-offs No Regrets, volumes 1 and 2, and Lost Girls, volumes 1 and 2. I absolutely love Attack on Titan. Probably one of my more favorite series at this point. But again, I got into it kind of late, not really knowing what I was getting into, but I am so glad I did. So freaking glad I did. Alright, and then down here we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, volumes 1 through 3, which is not up to date. I believe there's 5 or 6 volumes out right now. But this one is absolutely hysterical. Don't really want to say too much again to avoid spoilers. And then we also have the Puella Magi Tart Magica, Legend of Jeanne d'Arc, or Joan of Arc, in these 4 volumes here. And the 5th volume just came out, so I definitely need to get that picked up. And I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, but I think that is the end of this particular part in the manga. But this story is basically just tells the story of Joan of Arc as a magical girl. And what I really like about these is periodically throughout the manga, it has little snippets of what really happened to Joan of Arc. Like it's their way of saying, you know, we'll get into this, we'll have a good time, give you a funny story, but here's exactly what happened. And I thought that was pretty cool the way they did that. And here we have Food Wars, volumes 1 through 20, which I think the 21st volume of this just came out. I could be wrong, but I just have fallen behind here recently. But I love me some Food Wars. It's a really, really good action-packed manga about food. That's all I can really say. And then we have One Punch Man, 1 through 12, and I do believe this is up to date. Really good action-packed shonen series. One of my favorites thus far. And we have To Your Eternity. It's a newer manga by Yoshitoki Oima, the same person who did A Silent Voice, which I actually still think A Silent Voice is a bit better, but To Your Eternity is still really, really good. And then down here, I'm just going to kind of wrap this up in a hurry here. We have Black Clover, volumes 1 through 9, which is up to date. One of my favorite series that I've got this year. A lot of people hate on Black Clover because they think it's pretty much a direct ripoff of Naruto, which I personally didn't see it, but that's just me. And we have The Heroic Legend of Arslan, volumes 1 through 7, which is current. A really good series. It's actually an adaptation by Hiromu Arakawa, same mangaka who wrote Full Metal Alchemist, but this is not her original story. It's based off of a classic Japanese novel. One thing, and same thing with the next series I'm going to go over, it's really politically heavy, so if you're not much of a political person, I would steer away from it. And I'm just going to scoot in a little closer here. We have Yona of the Dawn, volumes 1 through 8, in volume 9. Came out in December, so I do have to pick that up. But Yona of the Dawn, I absolutely love the anime. And love the manga probably just as much. But again, it does have a lot of politics in it, so like Arslan, if you're not a political person, I would steer away from it. Then we have the Legend of Zelda manga adaptations, as well as the Twilight Princess manga adaptation. But I love me some Legend of Zelda, love the video games, and I would highly recommend if you are a fan of the video games to pick these up. And then last but not least, I'm going to cover down here really quick, we have Barakeman, volumes 1 through 14. Probably as far as slice of life goes, guys, this is it here. Like, this is the best slice of life manga that I have read thus far. So if you're a slice of life fan, please, 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 please pick up Barakeman. I can tell you, you guys will not regret it. It's very heartwarming, very lighthearted and funny. That's another manga I can give a 10 out of 10 at least. And then last but not least down here we have Haikyuu, volumes 1 through 17. I know volume 18 is out, but I have yet to pick that up. Funny thing about this is I'm not really much of a sports manga fan, but I read a couple volumes of Haikyuu and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's just about a bunch of high school students who are in volleyball, and I mean that's pretty much it, guys. But it really gets plot heavy, gets really really action packed, and it's pretty clean. I mean, some of the later volumes do have a bit of language, but it is pretty clean for the most part. So if you have a younger child, because it does have a teen rating on it, but if you do have a younger child who wants to get into some type of sports manga, this would be a good one here to start them off with. All right, guys. Well, wanted to have a little more commentary, but again, I'm kind of, for space and time's sake, I kind of had to cut this a little short, but hopefully you guys enjoyed all this. I'll try to, at least for the next few months, try to get back on track with making good videos. I know I've been slacking the last couple of months, but, you know, with the holidays and all that, kind of hard to keep on track. But anyway, hopefully you guys liked what you see. If you have any questions about any of the manga I have in my collection, feel free to leave a comment. down below. And if you like what you see, and if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys later.